Hello and welcome to my channel, Naughty Gnome Crafts. My name is Sarah and you can find me as Naughty Gnome on Instagram. Whether you're a new or a returning viewer, thank you so much for joining me today, and I have a fun video for you, but before we get started, I'm just going to briefly tell you what I'm wearing. This is the McCall's blouse. I can't remember the number, but I will put the photo up on the screen. This was made out of a rayon fabric that I got from D&H Fabrics, and I really love this blouse. It's one of my favorites. And I'll insert a picture of me wearing it so you can see the full view of what it looks like. So today, we're gonna do a little bit of Sew Inspo, which is a new series that I'm starting, where I just pick out a ready-to-wear brand that I like, and then choose a few sewing patterns to match up with the garments so that you can make your own. So the brand that I have chosen for my first Sew Inspo is the French brand Sezane. If you've not heard of them, they are a sustainable company. I think they skew a little bit younger and very feminine and romantic details, lots of ruffles and lace and florals. And I really like their aesthetic. And so if I were going to be buying clothes from Sezane, if I didn't make my own clothes, I have to say that I wouldn't probably dress head to toe in Sezane. It might be a little bit overwhelming to me. But I would, if I were a customer, I would probably pick up one or two statement pieces from them to, just show off the little bit more romantic side. So my style tends a little bit more towards like the relaxed, like classic minimalist. But I just feel like if I did a video on Madewell or Everlane, that would be really boring. For sewists, this is a little bit more fun. So let's get into the video. I'm gonna be looking down at my iPad to talk about the garments. So let's start with dresses. And I'm going to be inserting pictures here. Oh, also, I feel like I need to warn you that Sezane's photos are absolutely horrendously awful and they don't show you the clothes. They're all artsy and all the models are like posed in these weird ways that you can't see the clothes. And I find it funny too that I've watched a lot of YouTube videos of people who buy their clothing, and even on those videos, they'll say something like, well, we all know that Sezane doesn't show you the clothes before you buy them, which I just think is hilarious. But anyway, we're gonna do the best that we can with the pictures from the Sezane website, and apologies that they're not always all that clear. So, like I said, we're gonna start with dresses. So the first one that I have to show you is the Victoria dress, which is a fluid midi length dress with a front square neckline, short sleeves. It's fitted at the waist. It has a button placket down the front. And I absolutely love this dress. I think that it is gorgeous. I would definitely make a dress like this for myself. It comes in some beautiful floral prints. And the pattern that I have to match with that, it's not a perfect match, but I think it's pretty close, and you could hack it a little bit to make it even closer. And that is the Friday Pattern Company Hughes dress. And for each of the patterns that I talk about, I will be inserting a photo of the size chart so that you can see all of the sizes. So the Hughes dress is pretty similar to the Victoria. It has kind of a more rounded, like squared off neckline, but it's more round. So if you wanted to, you could definitely square the neckline a little bit more to make it more like the Victoria dress. And I think the Hughes dress is probably a little bit longer too, so you could shorten the length. But otherwise, I think the look is quite close, and I was happy with that comparison. So the next dress that we have is the Mila Dress, which is a midi wrap style dress with long sleeves that tighten at the wrists. It has a smocked waist and it has a ruffle at the bottom of the dress. So this one was definitely a dead ringer for me, and the alarm went off my head right away that it matches really well with the Bryn McCall's dress. So the McCall dress is just a pullover dress that has elastic to gather in the waist. It has that mock wrap front and the long bell sleeves. I think the Mila dress has some shearing at the cuff, so you could do shearing instead of the elastic cuffs on the Bryn dress. And the Bryn even has a view that has the ruffle at the bottom. I think the only thing you would need to do is just lengthen the dress a little bit and then add the ruffle. And I think that's a pretty good match. So the next dress I have to talk about is the Winona Dress, which is a midi length dress with a front and back square neckline. It has elasticated and smocked short sleeves, a removable belt with a buckle, and a button placket down the front. And it doesn't say what the fabric is, but it looks like this dress might be like a solid black linen or something. And this I thought was a really good match with the Ashley McCall's dress, which is, if you've been watching my videos, you'll know that it's on my list to make. I think it's quite close. The Ashley has a sweetheart neckline, so again, you kind of have to square out that neckline, but I think it would be pretty easy to do. And the Ashley even has a belt with pattern piece that comes with it, so you could make a matching belt just like the Winona dress. So the last dress that I'm going to show you is called the Leanne Dress. And it is similar to some of the others. Like right now, I'm personally obsessed with button front dresses, so that's why we're seeing so many of them. But this one is a mini dress. It's a short sleeve dress with a front square neckline, a button placket on the front, and a skater skirt. So this one I thought was a really good match for the Vicky Sews Roleese dress. And honestly, like all of these button front dresses, the Hughes dress, the Ashley McCalls, and the Vicky Sews, you could kind of interchange them if you wanted to, or if you only had one of those patterns, you could probably hack it a little bit more. But these are just kind of the closest that I could come up with to the original, assuming that you don't have any of the patterns. So the Vicky Sews dress, I actually bought this pattern because I do want to make this dress. Again, it does have a sweetheart neckline and you would have to square it out, but otherwise it's pretty close. It is a shorter length dress, which I just think is really cute. You might also be able to use the True Bias Shelby dress. The Shelby dress has a V neckline, so I think it would be a little bit harder than the Vicky Sews to square out that neckline. But if you don't want to deal with Russian patterns, the True Bias Shelby might be a good option. Okay, so moving on to tops, we have the Anneal Jumper, which is It says it's a sweater, but it looks like it's just a short sleeve t-shirt that has a square neckline with some scallop details at the sleeves and at the neckline. Now, I could not find a pattern where you could match the scallop details. I think that would be pretty hard to find, like matching knit scallop trim. But ignoring the scallop details, it's basically just a fitted square neck t-shirt. And I thought that a really good match for that is the Patterns for Pirates Be Bold bodysuit. So it's obviously a bodysuit, but it also comes as a crop top, and you can lengthen it if you want it to be a little bit more of a t-shirt length. But it has that wide squared off neckline that I'm obsessed with right now. And actually, I like the Patterns for Pirates better than the Anneal Jumper because the Patterns for Pirates back has a really interesting back options where you can have like a high scoop back or a low scoop back, whereas the Sezane pattern is just a regular like crew neckline in the back. So I actually think the Pattern for Pirates is more of an interesting design. But I thought that was a pretty decent match. The next top that I have is another knit top. It's called the Robin t-shirt. It's a short sleeve organic cotton t-shirt with a round neck and tone-on-tone shoulder smocks. So this is that shoulder pad muscle tee silhouette that's everywhere right now. There are actually several sewing patterns that have come out with a similar design. The one that I chose is from Madeit Patterns, and it's called the 8T, and it is a padded shoulder design. Now, I think the smocking would be a little bit difficult to replicate without like modifying the pattern pieces, but I was thinking that you could probably just top stitch like lines, like contrasting thread lines through the shoulder pad to kind of just give that look to match the look of the Robin t-shirt if you wanted that. So the next top is a woven shirt. It's called the Guillemette shirt. It's a short sleeve blouse with a high collar and gathered ruffles around the neckline, the chest, the sleeves, and the back. So the pattern that I found for this is not quite a perfect match, but I think that it gives a similar look, and you could probably hack it to make it even more similar. And that is the Fibre Mood Paulette shirt. So I actually fell in love with the Guillemette shirt, and I think that I might end up making the Paulette, because when I first saw the Paulette design on the Fibre website, it's in a striped fabric and that just didn't sing to me, but in the floral of the guillemette shirt from Sezane, I just fell in love with the potential of it. And I think that it's so pretty and a beautiful floral print. So I definitely think that I will be trying to make this. So for the Paulette, it has long sleeves with a cuff, so you need to shorten the sleeves. And what I was thinking of probably doing was cutting the sleeves shorter and then doing some shearing around the edge of the cuff just to give it that kind of little ruffle look. And then I don't know if I'll try to hack this or not, but you could add a ruffle to the top collar to make it more like the guillemette shirt. And probably if you wanted a close duplicate, you would need to shorten the ruffles too. Again, like I probably won't bother to do that on my version. I just more like the aesthetic matches pretty close, even if it's not an exact copy. And actually, I would say that if you are a fan of Sezane's designs, that the pattern company Fibre Mood is a pretty good one to keep an eye on, because I do think that even for patterns that aren't exact duplicates of the Sezane aesthetic, that the overall look of the pattern companies or the companies is pretty close. So if you like Sezane, check out Fibre Mood. I think that you'll like a lot of their designs. So the next one that I have for you is the Magda Shirt, which is a short sleeve embroidered shirt. It has a gathered ruffle at the collar, loose sleeves, and gathered shoulders. So this one I thought was a match for another Fibre Mood pattern, which is the Fibre Mood Honey. And because it has that ruffled collar, I've actually made this shirt, and it would be pretty easy to just make the sleeves short and add a little cuff and like gather it in. And I think that that would be a pretty close match. And even the fabric, if you like that embroidered look, I think if you use like an Atelier Brunette double gauze, that would be a very close match for the Magda shirt. So the next design I have for you is a jacket pattern. It's called the Willa Jacket, and it's one of those shackets. I hate that word. I'm never going to use it again, but it's a shirt jacket. It's an oversized short jacket with a classic collar, large side pockets, patch pockets on the chest, and a button closure. And this really just reminded me of the ready to sew Julien Chore jacket, because the pockets down at the bottom, like the slanted shape of the pockets, is very similar to the Sezane version. And I really liked how this Sezane website had several different fabrics that they used. So it looks like they might have used just like a standard twill, but they also used like a blue denim. I really like all of the versions that they have on their website. So I think any of those would make a lovely Julien Chore jacket, and that it would be a pretty close match. So the very final piece that I have for you is one pair of pants, and it's the Chuck trousers, which says it's a mid-high waist trouser, straight leg, wide cut. It has a marked pleat on the front and back and a button placket on the front, with front patch pockets and piping on the back. So this one, I thought, there's several wide leg pants patterns that are very popular, but the one that I chose as a good match was the True Bias Lander pants. And the reason I picked this is because the Lander pants already have a button fly, and they already have patch pockets. And so the actual shape of the Chuck trousers, the pockets are different, but because the Lander has patch pockets, it would be easy to just leave off the Landers and put on the Chuck style pockets. You wouldn't have to alter the front pieces. And otherwise, this is a pretty straightforward, just high waist, wide leg pant. Like I said, there's a variety of patterns you could use, but I do think that the True Bias Lander is a good match for that. So that was my 10 designs from Sezane's spring collection that we found some sewing patterns for. And so I hope that you are as inspired as I am to make some new beautiful garments for spring and summer. And let me know in the comments which was your favorite, or if you have any other pattern suggestions for these designs that you think is a good match. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, because I would love to know if you want to see more videos like this in the future. And consider subscribing to my channel. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.